welcome back to Good Job Adventures, and let's get this started. So first we're going to start off here with a little intro scene. A grand hall of pale red light, centered in it a long black table dotted with maps, schematics, and plans are sprawled all over the middle. 4 towering entities sit at the table in ornate white thrones. Helm, Hephaestus, Ogma, and Bahamut. They trade concerned glances as they look up and down from the table. Ogma speaks up first. We'll need to tell them. They need to know what awaits them. What awaits us. Myander, he is driven by knowledge and truth. Withholding this goes against the pact we formed. Helm responds.
I agree. They must know the darkness amassing. Bahamut, do we have a full roster of the gods that have defected from the astral plane and joined the enemy?
We do. My counterpart was originally weighing her options. Then she spoke to the one known as Breathweaver. I of all people should have known that. After speaking with Breathweaver, she promptly defected. In addition, the 9 archdevils have joined them. Various gods of beasts, aberrations, and monstrosities have defected as well. Loth, the Underdark deities, as well as the Illithids. Cyric, the gnomish deities, the lords of the Golden Hills. Hephaestus, I believe they were still angry about your short jokes, especially since you are a dwarven god and quite shorter than a few of them. And the most recent addition, Mask. Big Hef stands up, frowning slightly but with a glimmer in his eye. But who would have thought we'd get the eldritch horrors that reside behind space, time, and mortal and seemingly immortal comprehension? And they ain't short neither. The scene pans out, and you see an abrupt ending to the table and the hall itself. Color and substance, or coherence, vanishes into the maw of the darkness, swarming with tentacles. A large cosmic backdrop, dying galaxies spiraling into the murk, stars winking faintly into oblivion, the home of the ancients, the Elder Ones, the great old monstrosities whose very being is a mockery of rational existence. This is what rests at the end of the planning hall. One of the tentacles waves an acknowledgement to Big Hef. Credit to Owl here, I'm not sure how he pulled this off. A tentacle starts moving closer to Big Hef. He swats it away. Another moves in. Actually, fuck Owl, this is getting weird. Regardless, they are a massive boon to our effort, and we must inform our mortal troops of the potentially divine forces they will face. We, and Ogma looks around the table, can deal with the gods themselves. We must pray our mortal followers can handle the rest. Larry speaks up now. Can I go now? We cut back to the bar, as light creeps through the blinds and window shades of each of your rooms. Ander and Breathweaver, you're both in the 5-person bunk bed, if I recall correctly, and you stir from a largely unsatisfying slumber. Suddenly, you hear a large rhythmic banging coming from the hallway. Anyone with a passive perception over 12 will know that this is Larry banging a pot with a wooden spoon. Rise and shine, assholes! Fate of the universe rests on our shoulders, and I'm not letting you sleep in late. Meet me in the bar, have some things we gotta go over. Also, Retzler said he had an inspiring speech he was working on, and he wanted Eligos to proofread it.
Yeah, I'm a little sleepy. Can I have 5 more minutes?
He begins to bang harder on the wooden on the pot with the wooden spoon.
So I'm on like the top bunk, so I'm just gonna roll over and kind of accidentally fall off the bed.
You take 2 fall damage as you.
I'm gonna get up and accidentally stand on Ander.
You take 1 stand damage.
And then stumble and trip over him.
God, we're off to a great start.
Never again.
What? You'll sleep in a bunk bed? What's the never again?
I'm gonna walk out of my room and walk up to Larry as he's banging on the drum, and I say, "Stop, Larry, there's something wrong with your technique."
Oh, really? What's wrong with it? I thought it's pretty effective.
First, were you rushing, or were you dragging?
Alright. I don't know, I was rushing.
I slap him.
Larry stands there stunned, and then proceeds
Is this a
to
reference
drag.
to something?
That's a Whiplash reference.
It's Whiplash.
That's
It's a
what I
Whiplash
thought.
reference. So you slap him. I guess you walk back downstairs. Larry begins to bang even louder until
Yeah, I'm
everyone
gonna
gets out of their
I'm gonna
rooms.
Get up and then walk downstairs.
He then trips on me after I'm trying to get up.
Wilhelm rolls out of bed.
It's just
It's a mess.
God.
By the time they get to the downstairs, they're both at like half HP.
I don't know why, but like when Wilhelm gets up, I picture that he's half asleep and he's just wearing like little goblin slippers instead of bunny slippers.
I was picturing he had like the Ebenezer Scrooge nightcap on too.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
We're getting a good picture here. All right. So as you guys all head downstairs, the bar is a quiet scene. The chairs are all stowed away, and Larry sits atop the bar top with a furrowed brow, as if weighing 1,000 thoughts at once. The mini blackboard that has Larry's daily specials is hauntingly devoid of any food options. Instead, written in an almost perfect spelling, is the word war in all caps. If anyone wants to observe more, please go ahead and roll perception.
All right, I'll do that.
Well, let me see what my perception is.
Mine's not worth it. Oh.
Well, Harris got a nat 20, so.
God damn it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I have special groggy eyes.
All right. You
Look
really-
with your special groggy eyes.
So-
My plan!
So as you get the gunk out of your eyes from a good night's sleep, you suddenly notice a slight disturbance in the ball pit, Vilhelm. A quiet rustling in this technicolored abyss where Mina was once solicited for a job that directly led to her death.
Listen,
You stare but a bit longer, and a face emerges from the top of the pit. It's the bar's vendor, Clevens. He puts his finger to his lips as he silently shushes you, before winking suspiciously and sinking back into the ball pit. You also smell gunpowder. That's all you're able to notice. As you gather before Larry, he stands atop the bar. Welcome, it's me, Larry. Presentation time. Retzela, cue up the music. And as he says this, Retzela drops down from the ceiling and walks up to a large rectangular rune the size of a jukebox. He hits it with the back of his hand and says, "Hey!" Classical music starts playing. Larry vocals come in for some reason and he's scatting. "Oh, this is a good one. So I heard about your dreams last night.
What?
How?
Heard you guys had some crazy dreams?"
I talked to Big Half, which like, it is not the first time this has happened. Also, does anyone else smell like a weird powder in the air? It smells a little like gunpowder.
I think I smell it too.
what's a gun?
Oh, that's probably coming over from the ball pit. We're getting ready for war. Can't you see? He taps the blackboard where war is not spelled correctly. War.
Lady, how did you manage to incorrectly spell a three-letter word by adding like 10 other letters?
3 letters?
Can I get some breakfast?
The breakfast is war.
Okay.
Did you see the specials menu?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you're not understanding here. He like smacks the board. War. The specials are gone.
What does
War.
it stand for?
Absolutely nothing.
But
Lady, here's the thing. If you want us to go to war, and judging by the fact that I can't speak for everyone. Oh, Vin, to refresh my memory, like, was the dream we had last session, was that like a collective dream where like we all knew that we all had the same dream? Or
Yes.
no?
Yeah.
yeah, you were all in a
Okay.
collective dream where your gods are basically just like, okay, time to fight for existence.
Good luck.
Alright, so, lady, here's the thing. Seeing as how we've been tasked by our respective deities to go to war for the sake of existence, having sustenance beforehand would be important. Do you want me to, like, do the cooking while you, like, talk about war and whatever you have in mind?
All right, fine. There's a couple of eggs in the back. You can use a stovetop. And you see, he just like turns the gas up all the way.
Alright, cool. Wilhelm turns to the party. I will make sure to not include vinegar, because I know I love that shit, but I know you all do not.
Can I roll insight?
You may.
Wilhelm's not trying to lie, that's the thing. Like,
Then if he rolls good insight, he'll know that.
might think you are lying.
Can Eligos roll perception to see if Larry, like, actually lit the stove before he turned the gas on all the way?
So
I got a 25 insight.
All right, you think that he's going to make the eggs. In fact, he's not lied to you so far. And Eligos, if you wanted to see if he actually turned on the gas, you see that there's like a little like light section. It's a very advanced stovetop. It's like one of those ones that like lights itself.
I noticed when you answered Owl's question, you suspiciously excluded any details about vinegar.
Moving on. So while you begin to make your famous vinegar and eggs, Vilhelm, Larry begins to adjust.
Larry, could we just go back to the fact that how did you know that we spoke to our gods again?
I was getting there. He again taps the board that says war. Apparently, they had another meeting after sending you guys back to your regular dreams, I guess, and well, decided there was a bit more info that you should be privy to. And they felt awkward calling you for a second dream, so they appeared before me. Larry. And told me what's good.
Me.
And it turns out...
He forgot his name for a split second.
And it turns out... what's good is actually bad. Many of the gods have defected, seeing this new guy's plan has a better healthcare system than the death and rebirth cycle of the universe. And there may be a pension plan set up too, but it's a little unclear. Granted, these gods just are after control and whatnot, but yeah, there's gonna be some god-on-god action. Or is it god and god action? Either way, gods be fucking up gods. Or is it gods be fucking down gods? Either way, a likely possibility you will be pitted against the army of divine, evil, sourced from dozens plus defected gods. The good gods will give us our own troops to prepare, but to be honest, things ain't looking too good. We'll spend today readying the units, battle strategies, etc., and I'll be looking into getting us into Praise Dimension in a way that doesn't involve pods. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question for the party. What would you guys like on your eggs?
Can I get some cheese?
Onions?
Alright, so onions, cheese, anything else? Larry, do you even have those ingredients? I assume you do.
Yeah. They're underneath the stove. They're in the oven.
Alright, Vin, do you want me to roll cook's utensils? To like...
Go ahead, roll cook utensils.
Alright.
Ooh.
Oh, dang.
Nice, a 25.
That's a 25.
Absolute banger fucking breakfast.
Wait, are we having bangers or eggs?
Banger in the mouth?
Describe it, Harris. Flavor this food that you've created.
Well, seeing as how I was only told I had eggs, cheese, and onions to work with, Vilhelm makes the most bitchin' fucking omelets.
Any tomatoes?
Little late for
He
that.
just served it.
If Larry has tomatoes, there are tomatoes. Vilhelm is at the mercy of whatever ingredients Larry has on hand.
Every ingredient is in the oven. There are tomatoes in the oven.
Why do you use your oven as a refrigerator?
Alright, enough about breakfast, Breathweaver. We got bigger fish to fry.
Larry taps the blackboard again.
Actually, are there any fish to fry here, Larry?
Yeah, they're in the oven.
So, are we gonna have to fight gods, Larry? Is that what you're saying?
You're gonna have to fight I guess the extensions of gods. You won't have to actually, put up your dukes to, a divine being.
So, I feel like we should go over the plan, the exact plan.
All right, don't worry. We're getting someone about that very soon. We're gonna be meeting up with the few entourages, and you see he kind of just bangs on the wall, and he's like, "Ignitus! Set us down!" And you all feel a rush of air as the house the bar not so gracefully lands. And if you look outside of the bar's windows, you kind of see a stretch of horizon of long sandy dunes hundreds of feet below. And you seem to be on a long and wide pillar of earth rising hundreds and hundreds of feet up. And you see Larry say with a smile, "Game 12 bluffs, baby, we back. I know Aul, or Breathweaver, maybe Ander. Actually, I think it was Eligos. You've been devouring my Warlord Brentley novels.
No.
Yeah, 'twas Eligos. So you know this place the Gamduel Bluff signifies then, don't you, Vilhelm?
What?
Someone roll a history check.
I rolled a 14.
Alright, that's unfortunately not high enough.
I got a 3. I might have forgotten we were here, like, the last level up, or whatever.
There.
Oh god!
27.
Morgan!
I rolled a 27 for history.
Nat 20.
He rolled another nat 20.
Jesus. Alright, so Ander, with your God of Knowledge pact, you immediately remember this. The Gamduel Bluffs are where an aged warlord Brentley, having conquered Tofek, fought against an army of demons intent on claiming the Isle for themselves. Brentley's army, totally outmatched numerically, nevertheless pulled off a brilliant yet Pyrrhic victory. The demon incursion was defeated, yet Brentley himself died in the battle. His empire would be split up a dozen ways by a dozen generals, and by the end of several centuries have disappeared completely. So Larry begins to say, so yeah, I figured no better place to train than the site of the greatest battle ever fought. Greatest so far. But enough talk. Or is it more talk? And as he says this, you see a half-elf male with black hair and a dark complexion drop from the ceiling, this from the exact same way Retzela had once done. He is dressed almost identically to Ander, however the color palette is inverted. It is I, Redna, good friend of knowledge, or more accurately, emissary of Ogma. He has entrusted me to provide the deets of knowledge, or more accurately, the working battle plan for each of you. Input and changes from all of you are expected and welcomed. You all have key parts to play coming up. We believe your strengths and what each god has provided to you can be maximized via Scrum. For you see, I am not simply an emissary, I am a master from the Order of Scrum, and my plans are, pun intended, scrum-diddly-umptious.
Alright, I'm going back to bed.
Retzela, cue up the music. Retzela hits the rune again, surprisingly hard, and goes, ow! And a training voice fills the room. Scrum is a lightweight framework to help people, teams, and organizations generate value through adaptive solutions for complex problems. In a nutshell, at this point, Ander, please roll a charisma save to stop the rune from talking.
No, you know what? I'm gonna punch the rune. I want to punch.
It's safe to say Ander and Redna will get along swimmingly.
roll an attack. I guess.
Oh yeah.
If he gets another nat 20, oh
no!
Okay.
A nat 1.
Oh God. So you roll a nat 1, and now as soon as you smack the jukebox with such fervor that it gets louder. So Scrum requires a Scrum Master to foster an environment where a product owner orders the work for a complex problem into a product backlog. The Scrum team turns...
I'm punching the rune.
Go ahead, punch the rune.
Fuck. Unarmed attack. I got a 17.
All right. As you punch it, the rune stops talking. So you see Redna responds to this, and you see he says, "Well, that's I feel like you guys really got the gist of it there. But I won't keep you any longer than our 15 minutes because that goes over the first sprint and against the principles taught to me by the great unholy halls of the Order of Scrum. The army's outside, guys. You'll find your godsend dispatchman waiting for you. I'll fill you in on battle strategies when your training commences. Sprint 2 commencing." And Redna sprints outside.
I do not like these persons.
Just bring it up in the retrospective.
Yeah, in retrospective, I regret everything.
Are all Ogma followers like this, Ander?
No, just the enthusiastic ones.
Are you a Scrum Master?
Fuck no.
I heard there was a big schism after the Great Backlog refinement.
I heard about that. That was pretty rough.
Ander, if they have Scrum Masters, do they have Scrum Apprentices? Is that what you are?
No, that's called a project manager.
And that's not what you are.
Nope.
What are you?
Ander.
Why, thank you. Yes, we know your name at this point, but, like, seeing as though there's apparently a greater organization within, like, those who follow Agma, like, where do you fall? Are you like the little boy who gets, like, coffee for people?
Oh, I'm just a developer.
What do you develop?
Knowledge, maybe?
Murder.
Murder?
Knowledge
Apparently.
archives of Agma, I guess. I don't know why I'm supporting this guy, but
Yep.
All right, enough scrum.
Vin, Wilhelm's gonna head over to the ball pit and just kind of, like, dive in.
So Owl says enough scrum, and then Wilhelm just dives into the pulpit.
You dive into the ball pit. You're in a ball pit. What do you want to do?
Well, look, because I forget the guy's name, but there's
Clevens.
the guy who was, like, making, like, weird sneaky glances at me. I was gonna confront him on why he's making... Also, I was gonna ask him about the like, gunpowder smell.
Okay. So you see Clevens is like swimming backwards in the ball pit, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?"
So, what's with the gunpowder smell? It's a little overpowering.
These aren't balls. They're bombs.
Wilhelm, get
That's
out
not
of
what
there.
I asked. I asked you about the smell. I did not ask you about the balls.
But that is the smell. That is the. Are you okay? That is the smell. The smell is the bombs.
I'm gonna reach in and try to pull Wilhelm out.
Oh no, I think I might have to sneeze.
What would that be? Oh fuck, I'm really weak.
You can try it.
I got an 8. Wilhelm pulls me in.
You guys are now both inside of this bomb pit. He's like, "I'm making the bombs for the upcoming war."
So Clemens, the other question: why were you making like weird like glances at me and like winking and shit? That was awkward.
Oh, you saw my winks? I was winking about this giant shit.
How do I get out of this?
I think we should just. I think we should leave Clemens till he is pooping.
He's grabbing my
gunpowder.
foot.
No,
He winked at me.
He disappears under the ball pit.
Can we all hear this?
If you want, I mean, you can see that Aul is frantically trying to get out of the ball pit. The specifics of the Cleven bombs, I don't know if you'd be privy to that.
Eligos is just gonna eat his eggs.
I pull myself out.
All right, good.
Wilhelm climbs out.
All right, you guys are out of the ball pit. So as you guys eat your breakfast and eat your eggs and dust yourself off of residue gunpowder, you kind of see outside beyond the door, the plateau is swarming with movement. Hundreds of troops, if not more. At this point, this is where we're going to split up into character-specific sections. So first, we're going to actually handle Eligos. So Eligos, after you finish up your eggs, your good old breakfast, you go outside and you see a legion of troops standing before you, all of them emblazoned with Helm's insignia. One of them is smiling as he carries a lectern. Eligos, I want you to roll an insight if you can, so you can sum up the army, kind of like size up this army that you very likely are going to be given control of.
That's an 11.
Okay. So after you roll up that insight there, you're able to quickly segment your army into 3 groups. You just get a basic understanding of it. So the first group, which comprises about 80% of your overall battle forces, look somewhat green. Sloppy form, fear in their eyes. You wouldn't be surprised if they've actually never seen real combat. Just basic training, from what you can tell. To this group's left, something catches your eye. It seems to be an all-tiefling division, holding flaming scimitars and carrying the stench of brimstone. And then there's a troop to your far right that also happens to catch your eye, which is mainly comprised of humans. Their armor is thicker, their swords, their spears, their bows are held with the grips of experts. These are your battle-hardened troops, and you notice some of their faces as they look straight ahead, refusing to look directly at you. They seem to be from your old order.
Oh.
And as you sit there summing up your your army, one man approaches you from the green section. Nice to meet you, Colonel Eligos. My name is Sir Tinley. A grizzled old human emerges from these main forces, trips and stands before you and salutes. But he accidentally pokes himself in both eyes with the saluting hand.
Colonel may be a bit of a stretch, but glad having you on board.
He looks at you and he's like, "No, you definitely are the Colonel. That's what Helm said." No,
No, go ahead.
No, that's it. I'm giving you a chance to respond here.
I'm not really sure how to. I've got like 80% of the army is apparently just conscripts, and then I've got maybe two divisions of people who actually know what they're doing.
And then you see, as you say that, you see from behind you,
That was an inside thought.
Well, as you think this, Retzela appears behind you. He says, "Hey, I'm a Helm guy now. Got promoted to Brigadier General once they found out I was Eligos' personal trainer. Don't feel like fighting, though. Wiped out from yesterday's training. More of an idea guy." And he looks over at Sir Tinley. "Hey, you, idiot man with few years left to live. Can you fetch me a drink? I'm parched and it's hot out today." He flashes his Brigadier General insignia, and the light bounces off of it and briefly blinds you, Eligos.
Fucking...
Certainly. What drink do you wish for, my honored Brigadier General? Surprise me, but not too surprising. Nothing with bubbles, and it should come completely clear. Colored drinks give me gas. Actually, it's hot today. I'm gonna take a quick 15 inside. Eligos, as you were.
I do not recognize your authority, you fucking pleb.
He slips a paper to you titled Speech, Eligos, and the contents of the speech are actually, even though you hate him, you kind of want to see what he's written down just so you can embarrass him. The contents of the speech are one sentence crossed out that says, "You will die horribly." There is then an asterisk that says, "Win them back with your famous joke about the 3 soldiers and the fat orc." And you hear the door to Larry's bar slam shut and lock. You hear a window crack as Retzela, holding a glass of a bubbly colored drink, yells, "Speech!" The crowd quickly follows his lead and starts to begin to chant "Speech." The man carrying the lectern places it down before you, but accidentally crushes Sir Tinley's foot, who yells, "Ow!" before stumbling back and falling into the crowd.
Speech, Eligos.
God. Vin, you couldn't have warned me about this before the session.
Absolutely not.
Of course you couldn't have. Alright. Well, first things first, Eligos, after skimming the contents of Retzela's speech, is going to just, like, tuck it inside his tunic. Because he won't be needing that. Alright. Hello? I see a lot of familiar faces here, and a lot of people who I don't recognize. Hi, how you doing?
Woo!
So
That's us!
that is you. Listen, I'm not going to lie about our chances. This is going to be a rough battle. We've got the fate of the world resting on our shoulders, and the zealots from, like, a whole bunch of different gods are coming to stand in our way. But as insurmountable as those odds sound, I want you to take what's the word? Solace. That's the word. Take solace in that fact. We are the last line of defense for this world. And look,
Excuse me.
don't burp during my speech. I don't care how shitty it is. You don't get to interrupt me.
Sir Tinley covers his mouth.
Alright, look. The order that I'm from, I started out as the only one there who was different. It was always a situation of I had to prove myself. I had to let everyone know that I was worth something. But seeing this here today, we've got my old order, who's looking pretty good. Hey guys, how you doing? Combined with all different folks from all different walks of life, it gives me hope that we can pave a better future after this is all over. And the only way that we're going to see the other side of this is if we all just band together and kick the shit out of everybody who stands in our way.
And I'm assuming this would be the end of your speech.
Yeah, probably.
As you deliver the final punching line, everyone like throws up like their helmets in like a good cheer, and you see everyone seems to be incredibly motivated by your speech.
I do not believe it.
The people from your old brigade are not as impressed, but they give you like that small clap. But the green like the 80% of your troops are very inspired because this is probably the first inspirational speech they've heard. And after you've given that speech and the crowd is kind of just like still like talking amongst themselves, Redna emerges from the lectern. Good job motivating those troops, Eligos. You are 1 out of 4 years away from becoming a true Scrum Master yourself. I recommended you for one-on-one training with the Scrum Lords.
I will not be attending.
It would only cost about 2,000 gold per certifications, plus yearly upkeep. But soon you'll be a Scrum Dog millionaire in no time. But I digress. Helm has given you a great number of forces, you see. And from our intel during the pre-sprint, the enemy forces have constructed a massive fortress of sorts.
It's called Sprint Zero. If you were a Scrum Master, you'd know that.
Yeah, see, you're already on your way to being a Scrum Lord.
Passed the first test.
You passed the first test of Scrum. Constructed a massive fortress of sorts. Towering walls of stone rising into the sky, mounted with machines of death. Massive towers, obelisks hiding Lord knows what. We've gathered the combined forces of Malar and Baphomet. They seem to be gathered outside of the front gate. Foul beasts and wretched cavalry are preventing anyone from reaching that front gate. Given the air support that we're also anticipating from the dragons, the maximum efficiency of your troops would most likely be on the ground. So whip up those rookies into shape. Get tactics ready and figure out how you're dividing the men. Get the tactics ready. You really know, scrum it up. And that's where I'm actually going to give you some time to think about this before we come back to your scene, Eligos, because we're going to be heading over to Vilhelm now.
Would I know like the layout of where we're like the terrain layout of where we're going?
You won't have like an exact terrain, but what you know based off of what your scrum master has told you is that there is going to be a large force of cavalry, and it seems from what he describes, they're from the forces of Malar and Baphomet. The plane in which you believe this to be would be like a flat plains before you were to before the actual castle that you're going to be storming.
So flat.
Yeah.
3 paragraphs for the word flat.
Next. All right, so let's go on to Vilhelm section. So while you try to think of something or like how you want to split up those troops. Vilhelm, you see as you step out before you a massive series of tents and forges scattered across a long area of this plateau. There are dozens of goblins working the forges, readying the troops, and armor for the battle to come. They cheer Vilhelm in their shrill voices and resume working. The smell of molten metal is rich in the air. The heat coming from this place somehow makes the scorching weather seem cold by comparison.
Speech! Who said that?
You see 4 curious faces peer out from the forge area. 4 dwarves. Their faces look familiar. Too familiar. Vilhelm! The dwarves begin headbutting each other and punching themselves. The party animal has returned! We hear you're fighting to save all of existence or something. So I guess we're starting early. As they begin passing around a flask. Several flasks. They offer it to you. Do you drink any?
So 2 things. One, I like to picture that Vilhelm is still like in his like Ebenezer Scrooge Christmas, whatever the fuck outfit, and goblin slippers. Like he hasn't changed out of his pajamas. 2, he's like, well, gentlemen, I don't. Would getting absolutely plastered before a fight be a good idea? Because I don't think it would be.
They all look at each other a little confused, and they're like, "This isn't alcohol."
What? Then what is it?
They hand you the flask.
Are you going to tell me what it is?
Well, yeah, it's yerba mate.
What? Did you just like hiccup or something? Try saying that again.
Wait a second. You that's not alcohol. That's tea.
Okay. Why are you drinking tea from a flask?
Well, after Gildrick accidentally burned down an orphanage, we decided we gotta sober up and get clean. So now we only drink on special occasions. You still an alcoholic, though?
I mean, I never was, like...
Roll deception.
Uh-huh.
I don't... Wait, I'm confused. Like, yeah, my family made the beer, but they never drank in extreme excess. I just occasionally would partake in the product that my family made.
They all remember your bender.
I legit thought they were about to give him, like, a drink laced with Pervitin, which is that drug they used during the Blitzkrieg to make sure soldiers didn't have to sleep.
No.
Was that just meth?
Yes, it was, in fact, just meth pills.
This is tea. This is not meth. As you kind of just like stare over this flask of yerba mate, you see a goblin announce. He just like stands up from the forge. I just remembered, everyone. Today's my birthday. And the four dwarves all kind of exchange glances and say amongst themselves, "Well, that seems like a pretty special occasion." And Vilhelm, before you know it, they've taken the flask out of your hands and put it inside of their tunics, and then they all pull out separate flasks and begin drinking.
So, gentlemen, do you guys have like a bandolier of situationally appropriate beverages, like a bandolier of water, a bandolier of alcohol, a bandolier of tea, urban bot?
You don't?
No, I'm a simple man. If I want to engage in the consumption of if I want to engage in the consumption of alcoholic beverages, I just consume dark beers and stouts and whatnot.
Well, I got that. And he pulls out a flask.
As I, the player, am eyeing my own stout. Could I partake? If you
He
don't mind.
smugly looks at you, and then he tosses you the the flask.
It's like 8 a.m.
It's 8 a.m.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
As you begin to drink your stout. So as you walk around the camp, it's pretty hot, as I mentioned before. A massive shadow appears above you. It begins to blot out the sun and provides a brief respite from the heat.
Then we will fight in the shade.
Then you see it. An airship descending behind the forge. On its side is emblazoned in large, bold letters Van Corfer. Redna is holding onto its boarding platform.
Oh no.
The airship touches down and Fixus emerges, no longer metal, and with a sense of vigor and determination you haven't seen him before. His noble pretensions seem to be stripped away. And Fixus walks off of the boarding dock and he says, "A little have told me you're trying to build the perfect set of armor."
That is correct. What sort of tactical hoo-ha are you gonna try and throw my way? I have a feeling I know where this
And
is
as
going.
you say that, Redna drops off of the airship and lands right in between you and Fixus. Scrum, scrum, as fast as you can! You can't catch me! I'm sprinting on plan! Plan time, Vilhelm! Eligos...
Could you... A question. Could you please, like, scrum off to somewhere else?
Not until I've given you
Scram.
your update. Scrum. Eligos will be leading the main army on the grounds towards the enemy forces.
A horrible decision, really.
They'll cleave a path straight through the outside armies, giving you a path to the front gate, which we will need you to take down. Whether your suit of armor or something else you can concoct, you'll need to take that front gate down. And as you wish, Redna out! And he just sprints away.
So, what, do I have to build, like, a battering ram or something? Some sort of siege
Redna
equipment?
is gone, and Fixus responds. Who in the nine hells was that? Did anyone else see that guy?
Look, Mr. Van Corfer, I barely know who this annoying imp of a man is, but, yeah, well, I have to take down Big Gate, so, I don't know how the hell we can... I'm trying to think. Well, Mr. Van Corfer, if I were you, or wait, fuck, words are hard. It must be the stout. I apologize. if you were tasked with taking down Giant Gate, how would you do it?
He kind of begins to think to himself, and he's like, "Well, there's quite a few ways. I like drills. You could use bombs. There's quite a few ways to get down to make a gate go down. It's a little too simple, but I'm not entirely sure what the best way to do that would be. I think you may have the better idea in this instance, but whatever project you work on or choose to work on, I'll be able to add my signature Van Corfer genius to it to make sure it's really cutting edge."
All right, so Mr. Van Corfer, do you happen to know what the material the gate is made out of?
He shrugs. He's not entirely sure, but as he shrugs, you feel a wet hand on your shoulder. And it grabs your shoulder lightly before squeezing it tighter and tighter. What do you do?
Upon the wet hand grabbing Vilhelm, he just kind of winces, and then, when the hand begins to squeeze, Vilhelm turns towards wherever the wet hand is.
So you look towards where the hand is, and it's Larry, the bartender. He appears drenched in sweat, and he hands you a yerba mate. So Vilhelm, talk about hot, right?
Yeah, it is in fact a hot day, and we're also surrounded by forages, so we're gonna be a little extra sweaty. I could tell by your wet hand.
Well, anyways, yeah, you got a lot of goblins and 4 dwarves here. No way you need all of them working on your armor. I was wondering if you could help me forge some defenses for the bar, if you got some time. Working on it, getting it airborne for the battle, like some stronger defenses.
Alright, well, Letty, here's the thing. I assume during the battle, would it not make more sense for the bar to function as more as an aerial, like, sort of command base?
Well, yeah.
But here's the thing: since it will be airborne, it would not exactly be optimal to have the bar become too heavily fortified, because the dragon still Ignatius or whatever the hell his name is still has to like fly around and be mobile.
We're all thinking it, nobody say it.
What?
Time to go mobile.
Oh.
You said it.
Alright, okay, so again, Larry, I have a question.
Yeah?
If someone were to tell you, "Hey, Larry, you have to break down a big gate," how would you do it?
I punch it.
Alright, so Clemens was making those bombs, correct?
Clevin's making bombs?
Oh, whoops. I thought.
Nah, I'm kidding. I know Clevin's making bombs. Don't worry about it.
Alright, well, Mr. Ratner, whatever his name was like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Onyx, bro, you have to break down gate." I've never had to build or partake in a siege before, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. Because, like, in terms of ways to break through gate, I mean, we have a battering ram as option. We have we can like a cannon or a catapult that launches the bombs with a sufficiently delayed fuse. We could also build siege towers, and within those siege towers place troops to mount the walls, and then from there, once the wall is occupied, we can just force the gates open. But I'm not sure which of those is the most optimal way to approach it.
Eligos is going to march over as someone who has taken part in battles. It's best to have a little column A, a little column B. You don't want to throw all your eggs into the same basket, because if that basket is the most fortified, you have no plan B.
Hey, you're not a goblin! And all the goblins start jumping up and down.
Little goblinos, he is fine. Eligos is cool.
So as the goblinos begin to like walk around you, you see someone taps your kneecap.
Who is tapping my kneecap?
So you see a fat, wizened goblin before you, Vilhelm, and he says, "My name is Gluzzbuzz. Yeah, that'll do. I have schematics from a friend I was hoping you could make."
Alright, what schematics do you have?
Alright, so he hands you a one blueprint, this blueprint depicts to you, those backpacks that like hikers wear that have that tube for water that goes into their mouth?
A camel pack.
A camel pack.
Yeah, so it's like that, except the goblin is the backpack and the other end of the tube is in its mouth.
What?
As soon as you see this, he promptly swipes away the blueprint and says, we can make that after the battle. But this is actually what I really wanted to show you. And he gives you another blueprint. It's the exact same design, except now everyone is naked and the dwarf is wearing nipple clamps. He promptly snatches that one back. And he says, "That's trademark. Don't even think about it."
Fetish crap away from me. Like,
I'm sorry. That's also not what I want.
Finn, I'm still recovering from the brain surgery episode. Please, just don't do this to me.
All right. This is the real schematic. I think it would really help our guys get an edge in the fight because they're sitting on ducks out there otherwise. He gives you the third and final blueprint, which Vilhelm, this is a crude mechanical Vilhelm that is mounted by goblins that would be riding into battle. These crude mechanical Vilhelms are mounts that can be used by goblins and dwarven forces under the command of you, and they will give the goblins a pretty decent, sizable movement speed advantage. And this is really something that could assist your goblin warriors. And you see the fat wizened goblin Gluzbuzz say to you, he's like, "I really think that this is gonna save a lot of lives on the battlefield."
All right, so Vin, this is basically like the Hulkbuster armor, kind of, right? Like that sort of thing. It's like,
No, it is literally a mount.
For fuck's sake.
It's actually a mount. So, Vilhelm, you've got a couple of choices before you. You're definitely going to be making a mech suit, because that's what Fixus is here to help you make out. You got a couple of options here. It seems like you've been given the option to have Fixus work on a couple of projects, either bumping up the bar, making some of these contraptions. And I'm actually going to leave you here for a little bit when we go over to the next character, and I'm going to give you the cheat sheet on what everything is going to have and what you can make. So let me go ahead and give that to you now. 1 second here.
Oh, he gets a cheat sheet?
He gets a cheat sheet.
I didn't get a cheat sheet.
I know.
I know too. As well.
No, you don't know. And also, just so that you know, there's about 30 goblins total inside of your foire, so you can use them. You're going to be using these as like a counting forces, pretty much. So I sent you a message text document because it was too long. So now we're going to head over to Breathweaver. So Breathweaver, as you step outside, you hear a rush of wind and a cacophony of roars echoing off in the distance behind you. As you scout out the source of that noise, taking you to the other side of the plateau behind Larry's bar, I want you to roll perception.
That's not a good thing for me to roll, but okay, here we go. +0. I can't see it. Discord message.
You got a
You rolled
19.
a 19. Shut up.
A 19.
Wow, I love how you psyched yourself down for that one. So you see a crisscrossing flight maneuver of dragons in the air, complicating patterns of aerial mobility. You feel a yearning deep inside of you, a call to flight. But your feet feel heavier than ever. Gravity's taunting you. How are you going to help lead all these creatures if you're unable to move as they do? So suddenly, a violent crash of noise and force, a tidal wave smashing into the cliff face. A dragon plummets right before you, landing with a terrifying show of force. It's an old storm dragon, ancient yet spry, carrying an aura of a cold front around it. It's like the first chill before a blizzard. What do you do?
Greetings! My name is Breathweaver. What is yours?
It looks at you and it says, "My name is Keeper of the Northern Storm." And it roars at you, and you see sparks flickering around, the air, lightning in its breath latching onto reality for but a moment before returning to oblivion. And you feel the midst of a great and massive storm. And I want you to make a con save.
Oh no.
Is this the episode where Breathweaver dies?
I'm gonna hype this one up now and fail it then.
My God, it's happening.
The fans asked for it.
23.
Damn it.
He gets a
What did you get?
23.
All right. So you manage to keep your footing despite the immense winds bludgeoning you. And after this roar ceases, you see in the dragon's open mouth, its massive red tongue begins to unfurl, like a red carpet at a movie premiere. Riding this carpet is none other than Redna. Scrumbledore at your service, casting spells of organization, flexibility, and accountability. Breathweaver, Bahamut has provided his most ancient and loyal dragons for this fight. He has chosen you to ride among them, to help organize and direct them. Be forewarned, Tiamat's providing and many dragons have our own to patrol the skies. Securing control of the air is vital to ensuring our ground patrols can proceed unaccosted. Find a mount who will let you ride it. I'm sure there are a handful not integrated into Bahamut's aerial tactics yet, and help make some plans for the coordinated airstrike. I didn't have many jokes for you this time around, as I was explicitly instructed to keep it simple and to the point. As he says this, Redna grabs the foot of a dragon that flies by and is yoinked into the sky and disappears.
Okay.
Before you go,
I shout at him as he's leaving. Can you trade Ander in that teleportation? It might make him more useful.
What? As he is carried away. And then
I'm not getting in there, by the way. I'm not into that.
That dragon is already gone. So
He's just talking to no
I feel like Corley said, Breathweaver says that, and like Larry's walking up behind him to offer him a drink, and he just says that, and Larry's like, okay.
I'm not getting into that, by the way. Larry just looks at the drink like, he's like, into this? How are you gonna fit?
Ignitus lands before you, Breathweaver.
Okay.
It is good to see you, friend. How be you?
Yes, I be well. How have you been over the 3 days since we last spoke, I think? Or is it 4?
Pretty good. So, I want to know, it seems like you've become a little bit more wizened, Breathweaver. Tell me, have you learned more of who you are or what you fight for?
Well, I had an I don't even know what to call it. I guess an outer body experience merged
Did you say
with
outer?
myself.
Or-
Outer.
Outer body experience.
What's the proper terminology?
Out of
Body experience.
Close enough.
Yeah.
I've had an inner
He
body.
gets touched by Larry's wet hand. Outer body experience.
So you had an outer body experience. How? And what does that mean? Not exactly what it means. I mean, means in the frame of my question.
I believe so.
Good day.
Well, Breathweaver.
Thanks for talking.
You know, there's something about you now. Maybe that outer body experience changed you, but I want you to follow your destiny, Breathweaver, and allow yourself to achieve it. Become who you are now. Now climb on. I will bring you to the rest of my kind. Find a mount who is worthy of you, and you of it. He opens his mouth. No, I'm just kidding. He bows down to you as almost like gesturing for you to climb onto
Okay, I
him.
will climb onto his back.
Alright. So as you climb onto Ignitus, he bolts off through the cloud line, crawling towards the distant sun. The cold wind dragging your face like talons. The majesty of the sky is a lot like the ocean. Infinite, surreal, majestic. Beautiful. And with that underlying, nearly undetectable hint of dread. As Ignitus settles in the sky, about 24 other dragons fly up to join you. Breathweaver,
How many?
survey our kind. 24.
Okay.
Survey our 24. The strongest, the most ancient, rare, and unseen kin, wonders of existence. Address the crowd. First, tell us of the dangers, the stakes, and the glory that awaits. Then, survey and choose your mount. You hear beyond the distance Eligos chanting speech.
He roars a mighty roar as he
What?
I'm not getting in that.
I'm not kidding.
Is that the
Mama, why would you
speech
just
that I
quote?
hear?
Why would you just quote that line out of everything in that fucking green text?
I
Why
don't know,
that
man,
one?
it just felt right.
Jesus. Shrek is love, Shrek is life, my dude.
These dragons are like seeming to await some sort of speech or something from you to give them a clue about what's going to be going on.
So what do I know is gonna be going on? We're fighting some other of Tiamat's dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Here, let me link this to you.
Okay.
That's a,
This
Oh,
is what
he gets a cheat
this is
sheet
what-
too.
It's just read. It's just read his thing. It's just the thing that he told him
Right.
already. He already
Yeah.
knows. I'm just giving it to
it
him.
wouldn't be in character for
Alright,
Eligos
well,
to cheat.
Yeah.
What? What are you trying to say?
We fly here together against the forces of Tiamat for the control of the skies. The battle will not be easy, but the ground troops need our support. Now let us show our enemies that we are a force to be feared.
Roll a nature check now, Breathweaver, to survey what types of dragons are here.
Ooh, a
For your
plus
mount.
2. A 13.
Okay. So, you see quite a few dragons are listed here. These are loyal servants of Bahamut. And of note, you see a few that have not yet been assigned a role. So there is a storm dragon. Lean blue dragon. It seems agile, like a spring coiled ready to attack. The clouds up here seem to darken as they drift past this dragon, and the gust that scrapes over it carries downwind a bone-chilling cold. It looks at you with glowing eyes, and for a split second, you hear the crash of thunder and the heat of lightning. There's an obsidian dragon, angular and sharp. This thin, long dragon looks almost annoyed by the rest. It carries the weight of knowing a truth no other would understand. Its searching eyes settle on you, and you feel the weight of a massive intellect devouring you, probing you. It feels as if you're being scorched by the flight of fire, and then it passes. There's a battle dragon. A rust-colored dragon with red specks. It is massive, with razor-sharp scales on its arms, legs, and tail. It has a noble, determined look in its eye, and it studies you as it would a potential combatant or ally. Its majesty seems untouched by time, and despite the scars and slashes from past wars, it stares at you, and you notice that it's analyzing the scars and slashes that cover you as well. There's a lung dragon. A long and slender black body with long and notable red accents and lines. It's smaller than the others and far more slender. It looks at you with a polite curiosity, wondering how you are, why you are here, and what exactly you are bringing to the table. Maybe you are wondering the same. There's a shadow dragon. A dragon, long and smooth, made of a matte black scales that seem to absorb all light around it, creating an aura of shadow. The sun seems to die upon touching this creature. It stares at you with black eyes, nearly lost in its black head. For a second, you find yourself lost in the shadowy gaze, and the light around you is but a weight that touches all but your eyes. There's a brain stealer dragon. A small, purple scales line its body. Fleshy, almost. Not as defensive as a typical dragon. It has a squid-like head similar to a mind flayer's own maw. It has white, bloated eyes and a look of undying horror. It smiles at you, relieved your brain does not hold any secrets it would feel compelled to devour. As it stares at you, you feel the temptation, the urge, and secrets of unknowable magnitudes await at this creature's footsteps. So, Breathweaver, what mount will it be? Who do you feel is a kindred spirit of yours? And this is where we're going to cut your section. I'm going to send you a list.
How did he detect the thunder before the lightning?
It was loud.
Thunder before the
Super
Let me give a
senses.
speech on that, actually.
Alright, so Aul. We're going to go into Aul's section now. So Aul, as you walk outside and scan the perimeter, you don't seem to see anything of note waiting for you. You'll have to prepare for this battle alone, as you expected, as you were used to. The sun-blasted stone beneath you reeks of something old and forgotten. The noises of training and commands, combat and bouts, forging and flying. Redna emerges from the ground like a groundhog. Well, hello there, Aul. I seem to have seen my shadow, so that means 6 more weeks of scrum this year. He pulls himself out and dusts himself off. The scrum lords have spoken highly of you, as did Agma,
Anybody
but not
who
Big
doesn't
Hef.
get isn't a developer or knows nothing about developers, this is just gonna go over their heads.
Again, we
Yes.
circle back to listeners? Question mark.
That's fair. That's fair.
But not Big Hef. He promptly informed me to tell you to go fuck yourself. However, what I come to relay to you in this update is that we have ground forces, air forces, mechanical forces, but what we really need is an elite individual, a scrum man like yourself, if you will, to infiltrate the fortress and find the source of that dimension's power. And word on the sprint is you're just the man to validate that deliverable. In terms of training, I mean, there isn't anything provided to you by the gods. Real people person, I see. I guess go scrum it up down in the dojo. Hone your skills. Find some wisdom. I honestly don't know. You know, employees like you, we call the problem people. You are who we seek to avoid when hiring. Whoever hired you must have been a scrum, but he was no master. I was lying about the scrum lords in Ogma. They did not speak highly of you. Oh boy, not at all. But I did accurately relay that message from Big Hef. And you know what? I endorse that
was
message.
gonna punch this guy.
As you punch him, Render starts to recede back into the ground, slowly sinking in, holding out one middle finger. As you punch him, he just goes, ow!
Oh, I got an 11.
Scrum man, there's no need to feel down, I said scrum man.
I don't think I said a single word to this guy ever, and it just
Go
blew
melt
up my
into the
entire
ground.
life.
And now he's gone.
I was like looking around,
So what are you gonna do
unsure,
now?
some way to fix this. If anyone else saw what just happened,
There's no one around that saw what just happened. This man just called you out and left.
I was gonna go back into the bar.
Did any of it really happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
So as you pass through the bar, you see Larry with various tomes and schematics spread across a table. The blackboard now has various runes drawn onto it in a magical circle. In the middle of this blackboard, it is almost nearly perfectly written, the word pray. Larry takes a sip of a drink. This is going to be an all-night brainbuster.
Fuck, I guess I have nothing else. Larry, what are you doing? What's up with you?
Oh, hey, Owl. I've been trying to reverse engineer some of these runes on the inside of Prey's pod. Any ideas? It's the key for getting a portal to open for us into that other world.
Eligos gets an army, and okay. I'm not the magic guy, so I don't really know.
Okay, well, that's a shame. If I don't get this figured out, I'm gonna get completely eaten out by Ogma.
Do you mean, Larry, do you mean chewed out by Ogma?
Yeah, that too.
How-
Suddenly, you hear a knock on the door. Owl, can you get that for me? If they're a solicitor, tell them to fuck off. If it's a Girl Scout, tell them to fuck off. Actually, if it's anyone besides Clevin or Retzela, tell them to fuck off.
Alright. I'm gonna open the door.
So as you open
Hey guys,
the door, you
I was
see...
just wondering, where do you want me to put this,
We're all exterminators.
As you open the door, you see a schlubby-looking man, middle-aged, thinning hair, a total dad bod, but not the funny kind. He is wearing depressing clothing, a shirt with pit stains and gray sweatpants. He's holding one hand upwards as if he's waving.
Fuck off. And I slam the door.
Larry responds, "Oh, what the fuck? Do you know who that is?"
You know what? Fuck off, Larry.
Larry rushes over to the door and opens it. The man's hand is still up in a wave. "Oh, let me introduce you to the artist formerly known as Breadboy." And you see, Breadman says, "Hi, Larry says I should tell you to call me Breadman. You could call me that or Ronnie." He smells faintly of urinal cakes and holds a wet hand out to you, Owl. What do you do?
Why is your hand wet?
Oh, He wipes it on his pants and it's still wet. I don't know.
Larry, shake the man's hand. Don't leave him hanging.
Larry just like looks at you and it just like gives you like a small like no nod, out of like Breadman's field of view. And he said, "Breadman's gonna help me recreate the missing rune we need to get into Prey's dimension."
Okay. So you don't need me anymore then?
Probably not. You can go train in the dojo though if you want.
Oh my god. I guess.
Oh, I like dojos. I lost my virginity in one. Maybe lightning will strike twice. Where's this dojo at?
What?
Breadman, get your dick out of the gutter. We gotta focus on runes. You can fuck the dojo after.
He's fucking the dojo?
Maybe.
Oh my god. Vilhelm got like his own fucking blacksmith setup. Alright, I'll go in the dojo.
So as you enter the dojo, you notice that all of the practice dummies have been taken out of the area, likely to train Eligos' paladins. Once again, he has squandered your dojo time. And at the thought of your lack of a sparring partner appears in your mind, you see in the middle of the dojo is a pool of black water that opens near you. And hundreds of red eyes stare at you from beyond this murky darkness. And they seem to be waiting for instruction from you. You feel a deep chill flood over the room. The windows here frost over, and the light around you grows dim. What do you do?
I guess I'll try to use Arcana to, figure out what these are.
Okay. Roll Arcana.
So I'll focus on the source of the energy. I got a 13.
Okay, you're not exactly sure that you can pin down exactly what this is yet, but it feels very similar to the that great old one, that deity that you had struck a deal with.
So, you guys, the guys that work for my guy?
They stare at you, and you can see one of the sets of eyes kind of stares at you and nods, almost.
Are you here to help me?
It nods again.
Fucking Redna. Redna, I got some people now. Fuck off. Alright, what do you guys got for me? Show me your stuff.
Alright, so as you say that, a few fleshy black humanoids arise from the darkness, adorned with tentacles that writhe on their limbs, as if each possessing a mind of its own. 3 of them stand before you. Somewhere, someplace, sometime, as you are admiring this gift from your eldritch associate. Mask is absolutely seething. So they kind of just are awaiting some sort of order, but they remember that you had said, show me what you got. And you see their arms kind of turn into these long, thick, tentacle blades. Almost as if they're about to start sparring with you. So a short training montage of you in these star spawn play, and you'll think that this is going to be exactly what you need to aid you on your heist that's going to be coming up.
Ooh.
And that they kind of just do some light sparring with you. They're pretty decent. I'm sending you a sheet on what they actually can do. These specifically. So yeah, then we're going to be going on to the next scene, which is going to be Anders. So Ander, before you can walk outside, you actually hear a call for you to come into Larry's office. It seems urgent. What are you gonna do?
I'm just gonna walk over to Larry's office.
All right. So as you walk in, you see Redna seated in Larry's study, poring over some battle tactics. He looks at you, a furrowed brow, and sighs heavily before covering up the tactics. Perfect timing. Would you mind brewing me a cup of coffee? I'm getting a bit tired. Cream and 2 sugars, please. Once you bring that in, we can begin your AGMA-mandated performance review. Thank you.
I'm not your developer or your intern. I was the one chosen by AGMA to lead this group. So you can screw your sprints, screw your scrum meetings, get me some actual insights and results.
And some coffee.
All right, fine.
Goodbye.
Fine. Well, before...
I'm just gonna walk out the door.
So if you... once you leave the room, Renda appears in the other room, and he begins to follow. He's like, Ander, I can't give you the stats until you complete your performance review. This is AGMA mandated. I don't care for this. This is AGMA mandated.
You can get your own coffee. Let's get this fucking done.
All right, fine. So he gets his own coffee, and he goes back into the study. So he pulls out a manila folder, and he stares deep into your eyes, Ander, and he speaks without blinking, without any discernible emotion or vague annoyance. All right, let's start off with some preliminary questions. How are you?
Suffering.
Jesus.
Sorry, I was told that you were familiar with this procedure. I feel like you thought you should have been familiar with this. Answers will be given on a 1 to 10 scale. Thank you. I ask again, how are you?
If I could give a 0, I would. But a 1.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of an orphan are you really?
Excuse me?
I'm just reading what's in front of me.
I mean, I was an orphan, so yeah.
Yes or no?
A 10.
Please answer on the scale of 1 to 10.
So yeah, a 10.
My parents are very dead.
All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how often are you drinking beverages of the alcoholic variety at work?
Oh, not at work, but maybe a 2.
Okay.
So then, yes.
A comment overheard from Aul to an unnamed coworker mentioned that
How was
you
I
drink
named?
heavily and without guilt. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accurate is this?
A 10.
All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much unauthorized vacation time have you taken? Under these circumstances, unauthorized vacation time would include abandoning the quest for knowledge, being unable for a duration of time to serve Agma, dying without proper authorization, or spending unapproved time in unapproved parallel dimensions.
Well, considering I definitely spent... considering I was teleported into an alternate dimension where I was a monk that could able to punch your face in right now, I'd say probably a 6.
Okay. All right. And a comment between Aul and a different fatter coworker mentioned that you or some parallel you in a parallel dimension for a period of time. On a scale of 1 to 10, how willing are you to offer up this information to Agma and why?
Oh, I've already offered it up. Did you not get the memo?
I'm just reading what's in front of me.
Bureaucrats.
1 to 10?
10.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, please rate your pursuit of knowledge and the amount of information you've gained.
An 8.
Okay. A comment overheard between Aul and another fatter dwarven coworker mentioned that Andrew did not know the definition of the word strut and also eats books. On a scale of 1 to 10, as a subject of the God of Knowledge, why didn't you know what the word strut meant, and do you think this is acceptable?
No, I don't think this is acceptable, and you know what? I don't even want to do this
That's not
anymore.
enough.
All right, we're
I'm gonna
almost
get
done.
up. I get up and walk out and start talking to Larry.
So,
Even though Larry's not here yet.
so you attempt to leave the study, and this time he has locked it, and he's like, "We're almost done, I swear." Refusal to reply will be noted on the review.
You know what? Sure. Go ahead.
This is just Ben taking out his HR nightmares onto Morgan.
All right, so we'll move away from the 1 to 10 scale for now, and I will say a word, and you will say the first word that comes to mind, okay?
Sure.
Mother.
Father.
Orphan.
Dead.
Fat.
Dwarf.
Alone.
Me.
Sexual deviant.
What the
That's 2 words.
It was hyphenated, maybe.
It was hyphenated. All right, so what's the first response? Okay. Father.
Yeah. Dead.
Scrum.
Awful.
Master.
Idiot.
Scrum Master.
Awful idiot. And that's so freaking
And this is all hyphenated.
Yeah, all hyphenated. Agma.
keeper.
Redna.
Devastating.
Ander.
Knowledgeable.
Jin.
Delicious.
Knowledge.
Intelligence.
Thank you for that. Your answers have been documented. Now, tell me again about your relationship with your mother, scale of 1 to 10.
I don't really know my mother, so I'm gonna put it at a 3.
Okay. And lastly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to punch me in the face right now?
11.
And lastly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to punch me in the face right now?
10.
And lastly, on a scale of 1 to 10, you see he's beginning to repeat himself over and over again, and something seems wrong. And he just keeps repeating that same sentence until he's just yelling, "Punch me right now, punch me right now, punch me right now," over and over and over again. And as you are noticing this, and
Can I do something?
Sure.
Is it punching right now?
I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic.
You're going to cast a spell magic, and it's going to fizzle, because as you attempt to cast that dispel magic, you notice that the walls have suddenly become monochrome, and the words on various pieces of vellum and parchment on Redna's own performance review begin to warp and twist and curl and expand until eventually morphing into arrows, all pointing at the door behind you. And if you turn around to look at the door, you see it's saturated red like a cinder burning in a shadow. And that's where we're going to cut your first part of your scene. Back to Eligos. Let me scroll all the way up.
Fuck!
On a scale of 1 to 10. So, let's go here. So, Eligos, back to you.
Yeah.
So, someone, after you've given your speech and after you've thought about how you're going to be divvying up your troops, you see someone from your order approaches you, Eligos. It's an old-looking man, and he kind of says, so, Eligos, I see you killed second in command and your colonel. Really failing upwards, huh?
Yeah, it appears that way.
Yeah, I see. Well, now that the Grandmaster is dead, whose coattails are you riding? Are you talking to a big guy?
I guess Helm's.
Okay. And you see like a couple of more people like come up like from your order, and they kind of like smack this old guy over the head, and he's like, "Hey, come on now! Hector was a piece of shit. I never liked him. Eligos was better. We just had to be kicked out." No. And you see Larry appears behind you on a dragon, Breathweaver, and he's like, "No," and he just flies back down.
He's wearing the frickin' helm armor.
Yeah, he passes you a
He
yerba mate.
actually doesn't leave until Breathweaver looks and says, "You can go."
I'm not getting in that.
So that they had basically said that Hector was a piece of shit, and that you had more honor. You see, a majority of your battalion seems pretty chill. They're not being mean to you. Only this one old coot that was just being
Kill
a
him.
jerk.
No.
Set an example for your troops, Eligos. No, I'm just kidding. You do whatever you want.
So, big day coming up. It's be my first time on this side of the command, I guess.
Yeah, well, you better take a look. And those other divisions over there, I know we're pretty good, but you might want to check out the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you guys to take point on this. In fact, if you can get Third Corps to do a scouting mission, that'd be ideal. I
Alright.
need to get a better idea of what we're up against.
You got it. So they're gonna go about their business now. So there's 2 real divisions you have left, Eligos. So the 80%, which you know is bad, and then there's the Hellfire division, which is what we're calling the Tieflings.
Yes.
All right. So make your way over there. You'll see that they're all kind of being like led in like this combat or like through drills by this leader, a female Tiefling, who seems to be like giving out some commands. She's wearing like a
Nothing.
black leather armor. No, she's wearing black leather armor, which contrasts deeply with her cinder red skin. She has a long sword that's sheathed in her modest holster, and her flowing black hair is held in a massive ponytail that waves gently in the wind. As you approach, she notices you, and actually walks up to you with an incredible amount of arrogance and swagger in her step. She says, "You Eligos?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, Retzela spoke highly of you."
Did he now?
Listen, we're paid by Retzela to supplement the main army. Thing is, money buys our services. We'll fight no problem. Problem is, money doesn't buy our obedience. You want that? You want us to follow your every word? That depends on something else. If not, well, we'll just command ourselves in the upcoming fight.
Well, I'm a little short on cash currently, but I'm sure something can be arranged.
And when you say that, the first thing that comes out of her mouth is bare knuckle boxing. First person knocked down their ass loses. You do that, I'll follow whatever military orders you say. Had to make that specific about military orders because once I left that word out, Lost in the Winter tried to get very weird. No armor, no weapons, no magical hoo-ha enchantments, just old-fashioned boxing. Like martial fisting. To clarify, you win?
Fisting? What?
Go for the
No
discombobulate.
armor, just fisting.
Eligos loves martial fisting. Whoever, I don't know who Marshall is, but
Listen, I'll fight you if you really want, but like this, I really just need you guys to cover the flanks. All right. The only thing I know about this army is that cavalry is going to be a big threat, and you've seen like 80% of this army. They're gonna run at the first sign of trouble if we get hit on the sides. So, really, you could do whatever you want. Just make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, you win. We'll do it.
you fist me enough, well, I'll say yes.
No.
All right, fine. Let's get this over with.
All right. So a bunch of tieflings around you form a circle of fire between around you guys to see for the two of you to fight it.
To see.
You'll need to, you will need to notch 3 successful contested strength checks against her. The first person to have 3 successes wins. Exiting the circle is an immediate failure.
All right.
So, I'd like you to, if you can, to make a strength check.
I'm feeling a nat 1.
Check.
Yeah,
Alright.
I'm feeling 3 nat 1.
Yeah, it's gonna be a strength check. So I believe
Alright.
it's modified by your strength modifier.
First, discombobulate. 16.
She rolls a 19. You fail your first. You fail your first one as you attempt to go in for the discombobulator, but she kind of just like grabs your hand, pushes it back, and like punches you in the gut.
With his own hand.
All right.
And as soon as she does that, you see some of the green troops kind of gather around the fire pit, and they're like, "Write that down! Write that down!" This counts as training for some reason. So you can go into that second one, and I'll continue to make the contested roll.
All right.
Eligos, don't lose.
It's a very real possibility.
Yeah, this is a bad start, actually. I thought a 16 was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, me too. All right.
Oh,
Well.
fuck. I
She
guess
rolls
the
a
16
16.
is pretty good.
So as you try to go in to get that second hit, she kind of just like, I don't know. She just punches your fist, and for some reason it's stronger, and you fall back on your ass.
Yo, Plumbo, you got this.
Write that down, says one of the older participants. So you're up to that next strength check.
All right.
No!
9. I'm
No!
getting worse.
Plumbo!
All
What
right,
do you
and
want
then-
from me? It's a computer program randomly generated numbers.
Roll better.
And as you go in for that last one, talking about computer generated numbers, she kind of just knocks you on your ass and then picks you up. She's like, "All right, well,
You suck.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a 3-0."
Yeah, I mean, kind of did as well as I expected to do.
Double or nothing. You'll give her command of the other army if you lose this time. Do it, I will says somehow.
Somehow.
Something power of
been
the old
said.
gods. Let Owl see what was going on.
Yes.
Through a dark portal. Do you wanna try another 3-strike, Eligos?
Not really, but fucking what else am I gonna do with the time? So
Okay.
Train the 80%
roll
of the army that doesn't know what they're doing. Eligos like, train most of the army, punch a woman. Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna go with punch.
all right, number 1, 13.
Plumbo.
15.
Oh my god.
Why am I rolling so
Vin,
well?
this might be rigged.
7.
Please.
Oh god.
Oh, you get double 3-0.
You rolled
I'm
a
leaving.
16.
Not my fault.
We
It's
know it's
Morgan's
not.
fault.
Morgan.
Plumbo!
Okay.
If she,
All right.
if she beats that. Okay.
11.
All right,
Fuck.
so she rolled an 11,
That's-
and as she's getting really confident, she's like doing this boxing maneuver. She's literally just giving you left hook, right hook. You just give her this massive uppercut that just puts her in her place. You're able to take control of that swing. Like, she was incredibly confident. You have advantage on your next throw.
Thank you, merciful
Before,
DM.
oh no.
All right.
Alright.
It was.
Ooh!
All right, so she rolls a 17.
I
What
rolled
did
an
you roll?
unnatural 20.
All right, and then you clock her for the second time. So you're up here. Let's get to this third. Let's get this third success.
Oh, Plumbo!
Oh God.
Yeah!
And she rolls. Okay, and she rolls a 15. Unedited numbers, 100% accurate. Everybody here saw it. No cheating. So you went for the double or nothing, and you pop bammed her, literally right across the jaw, and she goes down. She gets knocked out of the ring of fire. You came in with the reverse double or nothing. You win. So since you won, all of the troops are now just brawling each other and like getting a lot better. Like the 80% of the army that was like betting and gambling on you were like trying out those moves.
It's like he inspired them to fight against each other.
You inspired so many people fighting that it actually counts as training. You're seeing them improve slightly by how good you actually just like got the reverse on them. So, and then you see the tiefling that casted the circle of fire just like come up and like raise your fist to the sky. Is like, we got a real tiefling over here. And you see Valimir kind of gets up. She like gets some blood out of her nose as she like blows it out. And she says, "Well, we look forward to fighting alongside you in a battle."
Likewise.
As you have like a cotton here now. So, Eligos, since you've provided some impromptu training to your troops, you now have gained full control of the army, and
so what I had
now
before.
can lead them all. No, you didn't have control of the tiefling division.
Technically,
so you actually
Retzel outranks Eligos, so Retzel now controls.
I don't recognize his authority.
My authority. But here's
Just like I
what
don't
you
recognize Red Nose.
get. Oh God, that did not print out correctly. Hold up, Plumbo.
Was
So you are actually going to be.
Rule of 34. What did you just send me?
No, I did not. I set you some rules. Oh, well, not rules, but really choices. So you get to
Why are there 34 of them?
choose. You get to choose which one of these you would like to pick for the upcoming battle. So you can lead any one of these three main groups directly, like yourself. Which would be the following. You can either use the Horn of the Hellfire boon, which is an offensive boon. It immediately summons a cabal of tieflings to your area. They appear as if summoned like Nightcrawler from X-Men. The Ever-Burning Eye, which is a defensive. You and your order form a defensive barrier of energy around yourselves. This is with the trained group of people. And then if you travel with the rookies, you get the Rookie Mistake. The Rookie Squadron gets advantage on all their checks and maneuvers.
What?
So I was planning to travel with the rookies anyway, just as like a morale booster.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So then you would choose the Rookie Mistake.
That's a
but
rookie
now
mistake.
as you've chosen the Rookie Mistake, let's actually hear, like, I gave you some time to think about this, like, you know it's going to be a flat plains. What is your actual plan for attack as you start to meet down with, like, the other group's main leaders? Obviously, Valimir is going to be
It's fairly straightforward. I mean,
Okay.
I sent out the scouting party mainly because, other than the flat plain, I know nothing about the place that we're actually assaulting, that we need to, like, get inside, take control of, assault the keep, and clear out any resistance. As far as the plains battle, it's going to be incredibly straightforward. Battle lines is going to consist mostly of the conscripts, because I'm assuming they're going to be almost entirely like foot soldiers, whereas the more hardened troops will likely have access to like cavalry, possibly even like artillery and range divisions. The experienced troops from the Order of Helm are going to be in the center of the battle line, and the Hellfire divisions are going to be covering the flanks from possible cavalry attacks.
Okay.
Behind us is going to be where we're going to keep the whatever kind of siege equipment that Vilhelm and his goblins make for us, to keep them protected from indirect fire coming from the place we're assaulting, and so we'll be able to access them quickly once we actually get to the walls.
All right. So you relay this information to your troops in the head of their battalions, and they give you a salute and they go away. So you've successfully gained full control of your army, respect from your army, and an actual battle plan. Pretty hype. So now we're going to be going back to Vilhelm. So Wilhelm, I gave you a sheet, some of what you can get, and we're going to see which choices you made. So as Wilhelm, as you walk into the heat of this blacksmith encampment, the goblins look up from their weapons and armor smithing expectantly, awaiting your orders for the grand weapons and defenses you wish for them to craft. Fixus too looks eager, though a bit less so, put off by the foul stench of molten metal and the kaleidoscopic heat that nearly knocks him on his ass. First and foremost, you're going to be building your armor. You start with it, using your own designs and some ideas from Fixus. Many goblins helping you, standing by you at times uncertain how they can be of assistance. Hours pass under the scorching sun, until you don't notice the heat. You don't notice those around you. It is only you and the armor. And the armor is you. You're forging yourself. You're creating an undying image of Vilhelm that will live unto eternity, assuming Breathweaver doesn't accidentally blow it up somehow. As the hammer strikes like thunder from a northern storm, as multitudes of metal bend into your will, and as all of your expertise and knowledge flows out of you like mighty waters, you wipe your hand over your brow and admire your work. It is the culmination of a journey through blacksmithing, often unconventional and unexpected. But truly, you've mastered your craft. You see your 4 dwarven friends in awe at the armor before them. One of them is sobbing. A massive suit of armor, more a mech suit really, stands tall before you. It radiates power and authority and the might of the Dwarvish Goblin Alliance.
And radiation.
It is emblazoned with the sigil of vinegar, the holy condiment of the dwarves. It's ready for war. One of the dwarves walks up to you. Wilhelm, geez, this is you party animal? I didn't know you were capable of making anything like this.
Well, it required a shit ton of elbow grease and also a bit of a...
He just pulls out a flask with elbow grease in it.
No, it took a lot of elbow grease and also I had a bit of a bit of draconic inspiration. We'll put it that way.
And then Fixus walks up to you and puts a hand on your shoulder. He's like, you think this will be enough to take down that enemy's gate?
So, I mean, the thing is that I don't know if me in a mech suit is enough to, like, break down or break through a gate. Like...
Get in the robot.
Get in the fucking robot, Wilhelm. Says Fixus.
I mean, here's the thing. It's not that I'm not going to use the mech suit.
He needs more motivation. Bring out the wounded anime girl.
Cut to Wilhelm in a medical tent where he spills yogurt everywhere.
Fixus says to you, I didn't want to tell you this, but we took your mother's soul and put it inside of the mech suit.
Alright.
It turns out it wasn't his mother that mistook it. Just some random old lady.
Alright, so Vin, out of game, is the mech suit enough to punch through the gate? Or am I gonna have to, like, build siege weapons?
You currently have the ability to build other things right now. I gave you a list of what they were. So Fixus perks up, and he says, well, you should put in your other requisitions now. Days burning thin and nights wandering on the horizon. Want to make sure the dwarves and goblins and both of us have enough time to forge everything that you need. So Wilhelm, what designs have you settled on? So as before, I sent you a list of things that you can make.
Alright, so question
based off of things that you have. You have 30 goblins allotted to you, and 1 Fixus allotted to you. Fixus can only do one thing.
Okay. So, question for I assume that the molten plasma turrets that are those mounted on the mech suit or what? Like, or
like,
just is that basically?
You may trigger mounted turrets on your mecha.
So like to use those, would that entail me spending 10 gobos to have the turrets on the suit?
Yes, that is experimental tech 71Z.
Yes. Okay.
How do you get ramen in the mecha?
Oh, 1-800 based.
What?
Well, I've been in a bad mood all episode.
Okay, so see, I thought that I actually have to like come up with like a plan for like a siege engines and
No,
shit.
who do you think you are? Me?
Well, no, because I actually had like a plan on how
What are you
to
trying
integrate
to say?
like
I don't have
siege
a plan.
towers and catapults and shit. But no, that's all changed. So
Yeah,
And
if you wanna completely ditch this, we can think about like catapults and stuff, and I'll tell you goblin costs. It's up to you.
Well, okay, because here's the thing. The idea that I had was, because I forget his name already. The guy in Larry's pup was making the bombs, right?
Clevin.
What's his name? Clemens. What the idea that I had was build trebuchets to bombard the gate with the bombs and use them kind of like grape shot, wherein it's kind of like a just bunch of bombs load the trebuchet, launch the trebuchet. As those fly, they'll spread out and then just kind of bombard the gate. And then on the sides of the gate, place siege towers, fill them up with goblins on the like Vilhelm mounts in the siege tower to try and like take the walls. And then presumably during this, Vilhelm in his mech suit would also be helping to take the walls.
So I'd say if you want to make trebuchets, 1 trebuchet is equal to 5 goblin forces.
Okay.
The siege pieces. You said you wanted like a siege something, right? Like a
ideally, a siege like siege towers. How much of it that's actually doable? What would the gobbo cost be?
I will give you siege towers for 5 gobos.
5
Okay.
for each tower, or just 5 like?
That's what I.
5 for a tower, yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case, then 2 trebuchets, so 10 gobos, 2 siege towers, also 10 gobos, and then another 10 gobos to have. Well, actually, would it make sense to have the mechanical Wilhelm mounts in the siege towers to just kind of like?
That sounds hype.
Yeah, I'll do that.
If you do that, you can use the 10 to get the Gluzbuzz mechanical Wilhelm mounts.
That's what I'll do. And
Okay, and then where do you want Fixus?
So at this point, Fixus's offerings are basically making. But I have a logistical question about this. Why do we need Fixus's intervention to make the bar atop a flying dragon into a flying support area? Or is Fixus's special more so like, in addition to having the Chillin' Dragon serve as like kind of like a base, also have it able to like provide some degree of air support?
The bar will now be able to fly without the support of Ignitus, freeing up the dragons to
Oh,
provide
I didn't read
support
that
to the
part. I'm
ground
a
troops.
stupid idiot. All right.
That's what Bumbo said.
Jesus. I read that sentence and my brain went to spaghetti.
And so that everyone knows, the names of the Fixus specials are the Drill Helm, They Fly Now, and I Am Become Vilhelm.
Wonderful.
All right.
Meanwhile, Moyen gets a performance review.
I know.
Right?
Don't
okay,
worry.
so
Don't worry.
okay, so I've got my
Worry.
so I've got my 2. So I was running through this plan to figure out what a best place fixes. So I've got the 2 Helepolis. Within the Helepolis, there are goblins on Wilhelm mounts, and then in the back there are the 2 trebuchets that are kind of spread-shotting bombs onto, or barraging the gate with bombs. Okay, so where to put Fixus? I'm in okay, so if I don't, so Vin, if I have Fixus make the Chillin' Dragon fly, what sort of combative boon would that grant outside of we have one more dragon? Or is that the boon?
That is the boon.
Okay.
The boon is the dragons don't have to worry about it.
Okay. Now presumably would I assume that the Chillin' Dragon would be otherwise defended, right?
When the bar is there, you will receive the benefits of just the bar. If there is no modifications to the bar, nothing
But okay,
happens.
what benefits would the bar by default provide? That's what I'm asking.
It's a command center.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll have Fixus have the bar fly now.
Okay. So he gives these support. So you make out your commands, you're making some trebuchets, you're making some siege machines, and you're making the bar fly. So those are your commands. That's what you accomplish.
I assume that Clemens is fine with me just using his bombs for trebuchet purposes, right?
Yeah, I don't think he'd be upset about that at all. Now we're going to cut back to Breathweaver. Let me get the part 2 set up here. 1 second. All right, Breathweaver. I've sent you a list of mounts.
Yes.
What mount would you like to
The
pick?
Shadow Dragon.
Okay. So, Your dragon, you notice the shadow dragon. The dragon links eyes to you and moves to your side,
Does it have
beckoning
teeth?
for you to get on. It does.
Oh my
So,
god.
Breathweaver,
Oh!
I want you to roll animal handling.
What? That was not.
It was a good. It was a reference to How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, get your fucking mind out of the gutter.
Oh no. No, I'm not gonna
What did
say.
you think it was?
I don't know. Jump back
I
in.
got a 15.
You succeed. You hop on. You hop on surprisingly gracefully. It almost feels natural. The shadow dragon speaks to you. I am the shroud of the Deadlands. I come from a land unblemished by grace or hope. It was once ruled by a mad lichen wizard who cursed the land and blighted the sky. In time, a band of heroes freed the land and slayed the king. But the curse never broke. The sky never shone bright again. The crops never grew. The babies still were born sickly and deformed. What exists there now are creatures of darkness, my people and my enemies. There are no shadows in darkness, so I left to learn what it meant to be one. Now tell me of your past.
Like,
Like what I ate for breakfast, or what do you want?
To talk and roll.
Now this is a story all
No, stop. Let him go, because we've been here for 2
I
hours.
also say we split this episode up into 2 episodes.
one moment. Let me pull up my.
This is your backstory.
I know. I wanted to pull it up. I guess I won't pull it. Find out.
Alignment,
I,
chaotic good. Height, 6'1".
I pulled up to the house about 7
Oh wait, I'm a male? I should have looked at this character sheet more.
Wait, I like dragons.
Clearly, just recount what happened in this campaign to him.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not asking for your backstory, bro. I'm asking for you. I just want you to tell me, Rick. Like, this man just said, like,
Tell me something
my
about
life
yourself.
is shit. Everything's shadow. It's like, you don't go into a fucking, like, interview and recount your fucking backstory. I was born in Mount Kisco. Like, fucking just tell this man. What's going on?
Well, I came here in search of myself as well. This land of land of Tofek, and perhaps I have a bit, although not through the ways that I thought. I always thought I would become a dragon, but during my trips in an alternate universe, weirdly enough, I realized maybe searching, or maybe, fuck, what's the word I want?
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe if fame and fortune isn't what I truly desire.
Roll an animal handling check.
None of what you said sounds like kosher human speech.
Just fucking roll the check.
I was
Maybe.
gonna do like the story about the priestess, but
Maybe.
It's okay. Just roll the animal.
I wanted to pull it. Maybe.
why? Talking to a dragon. Why am I rolling animal handling 17?
Because you're riding it! Oh my god. Okay, so you roll a 17. As you are recounting the history of Breathweaver to the Shadow Dragon, you guys are doing some sick loop-de-loops. So I want to give you some flavor. So, as you're flying through the air, suddenly, black clouds swarming with lightning cover overhead. Shadows engulf as far as the eye can see. Down on the ground, Breathweaver, you see the specks of Goblin blacksmiths look up at you and are flipping you off, thinking somehow you are behind the change in this weather. As you and your mount fly through the crackling sky, chasing down horizon, ripping the wind into invisible streamers, you feel it. It's the same feeling you felt almost a month ago here at the Gamdwell Bluffs. Somehow, the storm is now all around you. A black smog filled with crackling red electricity. A storm but not a storm. A storm but more than a storm. There's something here, a heartbeat. And as you think that, your pendant glows a deep and powerful blue. Then suddenly the scene changes. Time rewinds, and the past becomes the present. Now, Corley, listen carefully. For this upcoming scene, you're going to be using a simplified version of Powered by the Apocalypse, like in the Adventure Zone, for rolls. All you need to do is you roll 2d6. 1 through 6 is a complete failure. 7 through 9 is a mixed success. You get what you want, but you pay a price. 10 to 12 is a complete success.
Has anyone else just like got a big vibe of failure when Vin was describing that? I feel like.
All right.
Yes.
But now let's go back to it. The scene changes to a small village under a blighted sky. Clouds snaky and wiry and thin, much like the people below them, and you. You call your village here humble in means. That's a polite way of saying desperately poor. Still, you've scrapped and fought and all managed to survive this cruel winter with few casualties. Spring has begun. Hope has returned to the hopeless. You see a woman in your tent, next to you, and a powerful love overwhelms you. You do not know what you are seeing, why you are seeing it, a memory or a vision, and then suddenly you understand. A scream eviscerates the sound barrier, the great flapping of wings overhead, and a sudden whip of heat lashes you across your face and forces you to the ground. The village is on fire. Dear goddess, everything is on fire. You and your wife rush outside. Carnage and agony and disease. A fire blooming. Frantic efforts to put it out. One last gust from the wind overhead. One last rain of fire. As it passes overhead, roll to see if you notice what soars above you.
R D
2d6.
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 I'm feeling a fail. I knew it.
Alright, this is a complete failure. So you're unable to see anything. But you feel wings flapping. The village is totally ablaze. All the houses to your left and right, across the streets, and streets are overcrowded with the crimson flame that sings on the wind, like broken glass being stepped on. Your wife, along with all the other children, and the children flee into the
Wait, his wife's a
outskirts,
child?
out by the local pond. No, wife and children.
Oh.
She says something you can't quite hear before vanishing into the crowd. Now all that's left are you and the other men dealing with this fire. What do you do?
How are we currently dealing with the fire?
They're throwing water. Some mages are fluming water onto nearby houses.
Do I know if I am a mage or not?
You are not a mage.
Okay. I will be one of the people checking the houses to see if anyone needs to be evacuated from them.
Okay, understood. So you're checking around at the houses and you're looking to see if anyone can be evacuated. So as you're going through these houses one after another, you're dealing with these fires while the mages are casting water. You see an elder man of resolve that you've never quite seen before. He's running with several other villagers. He sees you and calls you over. Follow me, hurry! I was out buying supplies. My family, they're in my home. By the gods, they're still in my home, and it's completely ablaze. He's on the verge of tears as he cries out to you, but you see his steely determination keeping him together. As he says this, you catch something out of the corner of your eye. Another building ablaze. A building that grew more and more populated as the winter came and carried away parent after parent. The town orphanage. With horror, you see it being swallowed whole by this crimson maw. The elder looks at you. Come now, we must not delay any further. He reaches out for your arm to bring you to the group. What do you do?
Let's go get this, put out that fire.
Okay.
Isn't the whole
Oh,
town
We're
on
going to the elder's
fire?
house.
Save the people from the orphanage. Shut up.
No, he is
The
not.
orphanage is
he
attacking.
Well, Corley, there are two choices. One, you help the village elder in his house and save his family, or you go to the orphanage to put out the fire, or to help and see if you can rescue anyone. You have two choices.
Let's see. So
He is not asking you to go to the orphanage.
I know. I'm saying that. So there's.
The town is on fire.
I was gonna ask Vin a clarifying question, but
The
now I'm
town
gonna
What
see.
is the
Is
clip?
on fire.
So the people. I glance around to see. So there's some people. How many people are there currently? Like how many men in the village? And
All right.
am I
So
the only
there-
one looking through houses to see if there's survivors?
There are a few others that are also looking through houses to see if there are survivors.
Damn, I wish I had this kind of mental clarity when I was making like a life or death situation kind of decision.
No.
Yeah,
I was the reason I asked that
Just-
was because I was gonna pull one of them over and say, ask them
You've
if they
been
could
speeding.
help the mayor.
You took too long. They're all
Help
dead.
the mayor. I have Save the children.
No
All
child
right.
left behind.
So which one are you choosing, Corley?
I'm choosing to help the children while getting another person that to help the mayor or elder.
Okay. So you attempt to call over someone else to help the mayor. He currently has a group of people that are already going over. But as you pull your arm away from the elder, he looks at you, death in his eyes and the dancing of fire reflecting off of them. Coward! No sense of loyalty! Go find a home to crawl into and die. Better use of your time.
You already have like 5 people to help you, apparently. Why do you
He
need
runs off
6?
past you with several of his men. As you rush to the orphanage, you see the horror of the lower half of it begins to moan, like a boat smashed by a kraken. The wood snaps and the left side caves in. You hear shrill cries, barely buoying this cacophony
Booing?
of destruction.
Boo.
Like a boat. Now, Corley, since everything is on fire, I am now setting a timer.
Oh
on
god.
my end.
Morgan's so happy
You are
right
timed. All right. So, Corley, what do you do?
I will follow the source of the screams.
Okay. So what I want you to do now is I want you to make a roll to see if you can accurately determine where it is.
Okay. 8, so mixed success.
Okay. So you're able to hear that there is there's screaming coming from the second floor of the orphanage. And you can accurately see that there is a ladder that is perched up against the side of the
You got
building.
all that with an 8? Damn.
It's a partial success.
I don't trust that ladder. Is there a way into the building that's less fiery, or...
There is the front door.
I'm gonna kick open the front door.
Okay. So you kick open the front door, and now you know that the screams are coming from upstairs. You enter into this burning hellscape. You see that smoke is beginning to quickly fill your lungs, and that you need to get upstairs and rise with the fire.
I would...
Please.
I knew that was coming.
So that I'm like lower, where there's less
Naruto
smoke.
running.
I
Okay.
Naruto
So
run
you're going.
through the
You're
smoke.
going to attempt to Naruto run through the smoke and
Another
fire.
roll.
So please roll me. Roll me to roll me a roll.
A 5.
Roll me a roll.
Fail.
Okay, that is a complete
Oh,
failure. So there is nothing that could be done. As you are inside of this house, you begin to start coughing more and more. You are unable to proceed any further, and you back out of the house. There's still some time, however, so please pick another plan of action.
I will now fall back to my plan B of the ladder.
Okay. So you see the ladder is mounted up on the side of the house, and you see that there is an open window towards the side. What
Why
are you
aren't the
going
kids
to do?
using the ladder?
I'm gonna climb up to the window and shout, "Here, kids, come over here!"
Do you want the balloon?
All right. As you
Stranger danger.
yell that, you look through the window. You look through the window. He's timed. You look through the window and you can see that there are 2 passed out children. Sorry, that are lying unconscious on the floor.
I will
That is why they are not using the window.
jump in and grab them and call for any other kids in here.
All right. So roll.
I don't know if I'd rather die or get rescued by that man.
I got a 9.
Okay, so that is the mixed success. So as you are able to go ahead and into the building, you're able to pick up these 2 kids. You pick them up and you begin to scream to other children that may be inside of this orphanage, and you begin to cough horridly, and you're unable to get any words out. You're able to successfully rescue 2 children from this fire.
From this fuck.
From this fuck. And as you begin coughing louder now, as the smoke is completely permeating into your lungs, you are only able to do that much for the children. So after that, there was nothing else that could be done. The fire had taken too much of this building, and you've only been able to save 2, the 2 that you've seen. So this is technically this is a success. You feel some satisfaction from what you did.
Do I? How
you
many
did your
kids were
best
in
and
the
you saved who
orphanage?
you could. You saved 2 kids. But there is also still some losses that weigh heavily on you, as you know that there were more kids inside of that orphanage. You just couldn't see them. So, oh, the timer ended. Perfect. So, as you stand up and walk to the street, a man grabs you by the arm and says with a hurry, "Dear God, have you heard? The Elder's entire family, wiped out in the blaze."
But they had like 5 people who went with him.
What horror must we have earned? And suddenly, Breathweaver, you're back to the
Breathweaver's
future.
like, but I got 2
And
kids.
that's the end of your scene. You got 2
I'm
kids?
like, how do 5 people? I got 2 kids. 5 people couldn't save a family.
Congratulations, you got 2 kids. That's good. That's the end of your scene.
Okay.
All right, now we're going into Owl Part 2.
All right.
So you said you want to do something in your second part,
Yes. I
right? Okay.
am drawing from a feat that carried over from Arc 4 called Dead.
Okay.
It's not
so-
really funny. That's how he died. So, and I'm going to, taking inspiration from Warlord Brentley, and the Dead feat lets me talk to spirits. I'm going to attempt to channel in Warlord Brentley.
Okay.
Do I have to roll
Alright.
Arcana, or do I
So-
just do it because it's a feat?
It's a feat. You can just do it. So you sit alone in emptiness. Your only companion is your breath, in and out, until there is another. A grand and magisterial figure before you, a faint ghost flickering in the shadow like a flame. And surprisingly, it's a woodwode. Why have you summoned me? The great warlord Entley, master of 1,000 stumps, being of 10,000 rings, keeper of several forests, rulers of the Ents in the north, and some in the west too, bane of the drought of 1,000 years, and also the drought of 6 weeks.
Yeah, I don't want this. I think I called the wrong number or something.
He's stumped.
I'm stumped. Yeah. And I just like I'm just nervously laughing as he attempts to force this guy to leave.
So as you force this spirit to leave, you now see before you a fat dwarf.
goddamn.
He has an obese confidence in him, and then you recognize him. Is I, Oakley Boomer. Look who's come crawling back to old Oakley. Eager for my earwax mysteries, are you? I thought so.
Fuck you. Yes. Next. I wave my hand.
All right. You wave your. Okay. So then an old-looking ghost, an old man, wizened by the ears, and he shows up and he just says, "Oh, oh,
Warlord Brentley?
oh."
Is that it? Yes?
Oh.
Next, please.
And then you see a frightened human emerge meekly before you. He opens his mouth slowly before screaming, "It's me! It's me, the real Clevin! The man upstairs! He's an imposter! He murdered me and stole my body! He'll murder all of us if you don't stop him, please! You have to warn Larry!
Next.
Tell him I love..." And as soon as that being disappears, a towering human sits behind you. His body is far more defined than the ones previously, and also far less fat. Cool smoke begins to wisp off of his ethereal figure, and you realize that the man that sits before you is not truly there. He's a vision, of course, a spirit from a time long past. He's a spitting image of Warlord Brentley. You would know, after all, you were the one reading all of his novels.
True.
He takes a deep breath. "I smell the machinations of war. Prithee, tell me the stakes of combat."
Next. No, just
And you,
okay.
see,
No.
and you see he begins to fade
Just
out.
kidding,
and,
just kidding. The stakes of combat. Well, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news or not, but the end of all existence is coming, and we're fighting a battle to stop it.
I see. War cost me everything. I lost my 7 sons in 7 campaigns, because glory blinded me. I leave behind nothing besides tales documented in saccharine children's books. War never gives. It only takes.
Well, alright. In this instance, I mean, war's not great, but this is like a war for like the fate of everything. So, if we don't fight it, then your kids' books are going to be wiped out of existence. You see what I'm saying? I need some wisdom.
I
You're a
see.
warlord. I didn't think you would be a
Yes,
pacifist.
There are many battles that we are thrust into beyond our choosing. So you wish to save humanity? A return to a cycle and death of rebirth?
Well, I'm
this
thinking.
what you
I'm
seek?
thinking bigger than humanity. I'm not a human, so don't really care what happens to them. Dwarves are a little fat for my liking. Elves are alright. Elves are alright. Tabaxi, big Tabaxi fan. What were we talking about?
He kind of like eyes you up and down. He's kind of really trying to see, not necessarily who you are, but what you're saying. And he kind of like smiles briefly. He's like, I see you're kindred spirit.
I am?
Based off what you said. Regrettably, yes. War has left me with all but ash, but I'm willing to assist you. I think I could use a change. We are in the Gamdua Bluffs. Yes?
You know what side of the greatest battle ever fought?
He smiles. North of this plateau, there is a dead river. A waterfall now long stopped flowing. There is a cave there. That's where I am entombed. Take the sword atop my tomb. It will serve you when the time comes. It will usher my return. And then he disappears.
What?
And lights return to the room.
Was that a... Okay.
And in the corner now, completely exposed and totally indecent, you see Breadman with one of the goblins.
Ew, Breadman.
Oh, fuck, I didn't know anyone else was in here. I got a witness now, though. No one ever gonna say Breadman don't got game again.
What?
And as he says that, you realize the goblin is a ghost you inadvertently summoned, and it fades away into nothingness. And Breadman quietly says, damn, I got ghosted again. And now we're going to head over to Anders' part.
Fuck Breadman.
So Ander,
Alright.
you see arrows pointing at this door. What do you do?
I'm gonna try opening the door.
So as you open the door, you see a surge of water push through. A wall of force that almost knocks you over. The water ceases, the guys are short-lived, and through the hallway you see him. The figure you've talked to before. The being who, when offered you his hand, you shook it with conviction. He sits there smiling at you, in a courtyard of stone and grass. Large hedges surround you, extending infinitely in all directions. A maze ad infinitum. Pools of water are forming on the ground by this man. He motions you to sit beside him.
I sit on down.
Ander, I hear that you're going to be heading to a space between worlds. A separate dimension of your own volition very soon. Is that correct? His voice is calm and level as a cardinal delivering a sermon.
Yeah, and I'm kind of worried.
About what?
I mean, we're going to a dimension where we have really no intel and no idea what is on the other side there. All we know is that there's a fort, and we need to take it.
Alright. So, you see that pools of stagnant water on the ground around this man begin shrinking and expanding. As you stare into their depths, you can see your reflection. An aged old man, bones protruding from the boundaries of dead skin. Your eyes are sunken into your head, your teeth are gone. Time has consumed you from the inside out, and the pools of water continue sputtering. And you see the man speaks to you. I have a request for you. A fulfillment of our pact. And the courtyard disappears, and a vision similar to that of which the dire mirror has shown you before appears. The magical circle that is seemingly binding this blue being, a rune cast with the symbols of 1,000 eyes. Ander, I will tell you several things of importance, and I pray that you contemplate them deeply. Failure to do so may result in the end of both you and I. Do you understand?
It's actually supposed to be answered on a scale from 1 to 10.
And he snaps back to reality. No, just kidding. So no. First, and perhaps most obviously, trust no one. The enemy has been hatching this plan for aeons. He has agents everywhere, both mortal and immortal alike. And before you say, well, how can I trust you? The answer is you can't. Outside of what I've demonstrated to you, outside of what our mutual interests are perceived to be. My second point. Your mission tomorrow will not succeed. I do not mean this as an insult. It is the simple truth. If you do not know how to disable the enemy's magic, how to stop their power source, you will not win. And my third point, and it's more of a proposal. I am imprisoned in the dimension where you are headed to. I am the man you have seen chained to the pool. We are in an astral projection I have set up for us, but make no illusions of it. I am bound into eternal torment. Free me, and together we can destroy the enemy. And once victory is achieved, I myself will grant you immortality. What say you of this?
No.
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 May I inquire why?
Sure. Your first point was to say, trust no one. How can I trust you?
Didn't you bring that up preemptively?
I will resupplicate you. Outside of what I have demonstrated you, and outside of what our mutual interests are perceived to be,
How do
you and I
How
have
do I know? How do I know that our mutual interest is to grant me immortality?
I would not necessarily say that granting you immortality is on the list of my mutual interest. This is that would be an interest of
So
yours.
then how can I trust it?
Because it is a pact. If you fulfill this, then it will be granted to you. And he extends his hand, and it kind of looks like there's like a faint magic in his hand, almost as if he's like trying to show you that he can't go back on his word. It's like almost like his word is law at that point. Like if you free him, he will grant you immortality. If you want to roll insight, I'll give you advantage.
Sure. I'll roll insight on it.
Mm-hmm.
17.
All right, yeah. You look into his proposal. He is not lying to you. He legitimately will give you immortality.
Before I do make this pact, who are you?
So he says unto you, he's like, I am the master of the one you seek to fight. My name is Waikita.
My name is Boyland.
No, you do not get Boyland.
So, Waikita then, why are you willing to go against your people?
My people?
Your pupil. You said you are the master of the one I want to fight tomorrow.
He's not going to say anything, but he's going to give you a second to maybe think about why. Why would a imprisoned mage want to fight his pupil?
Oh. Why were you imprisoned?
He looks out into the distance and the scenery begins to change. He's not going to show you exactly how he was in prison, but just he explains to you, just know that my people came into possession of something that was more powerful than I, and used it to trap me here. And unless I may be freed, you likely will not win the day.
I'll shake his hand.
Alright. So as you shake his hand, suddenly the infinity sigil that you have on your palm flares up and it begins to burn, like a brand being pressed upon your skin. The sight from your left eye phases out and quickly returns. And you are going to be receiving the following benefits. Since you've furthered your pact with him, you are going to be getting... Hold up. Control Shift V. The following benefits from this pact. And the burning from this brand on your hand becomes tepid and seemingly fills your body, specifically your lap, as you snap back to Larry's study and Redna is pouring coffee on you. On a scale of 1 to 10, does this coffee seem lukewarm to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Well then, now that you finish your power nap,
It's not on a scale of
which
1
counts
to
as
10.
your 15-minute break, by the way, I can explain your mission in detail. It's simple yet critical. I will find the location of magical circles hidden within the enemy's domain, and then relay it to you. Ander, once you've been given this knowledge, you will use your magical expertise, he makes this with air quotes when he says this, and disable them. And then, as he says that, time will pause again, and you hear the voice of Waikita speak to you, and he says, "There's one last thing I must caution of you. Do not tell any of this to your old pal Agma. This must stay between you and I. If the enemy caught wind of this plan, well, they would end the shroud of my suffering permanently." And then time returns, and he kind of is like you see Redna's like snapping in front of you. He's like, "Hello, wake up, please."
Sorry.
Like you snap causes
you all.
pain.
And he'll extend his hand to shake yours. This is Redna. Before you do that, take a look at what I gave you.
Oh yeah, I know. As I shake his hand, I'm gonna use paralyzing touch.
It's like the joy buzzer. Are you joy buzzing him? Like that little prank thing people put on their hands where you shake their hand and you get the shock.
Alright, so you use paralyzing touch on him. He fails his con saving throw, and all he goes is, like you when you snap in front of your face, and then you walk out of the room. That's gonna be the end of your second scene. Alright, so we've got through everybody now. We're gonna head into the final scene. So all of you return to the bar, and you all sit down at the bar in front of Larry, and he says, "Hey everybody, looks like you all had a pretty hard day's work. Hit it, Retzela." Retzela, recently promoted, climbs up from behind the bar, light reflecting off of his rightfully earned Major General Medal of Valor and Honor, as he smacks Sir Tinley and says, "Hey!" Sir Tinley smacks the jukebox and says, "Ow!" Redna, already seated at the bar, stands up. "Alright, you cis scrum, let's see what we have to report in today's sprint reflection. I hope you all have some juicy deliverables to validate."
I'm gonna use frightening gaze.
What did Morgan get?
He got 3 abilities: paralyzing touch, frightening gaze, and disrupt life.
Jesus.
Disrupt life.
Yes.
So you could have.
Honestly, so,
This might have been worth going through the performance review, Morgan.
So yeah, it's a DC 18.
Jesus.
all right, he gets this. Oh wait, it's supposed to be slash roll. Hold up.
If he succeeds,
He got a 21.
Damn it.
So,
Okay.
he just feels like a chill go
Disrupt
down
life,
his,
Morgan.
go down his neck.
No,
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna. You know what?
No!
If you want me
Read
to.
it.
Each non-undead creature within 20 feet must make a DC 18 con saving roll. If they fail, they will take 66 necrotic on a
Are you
failed
disrupting
save.
Don't
life?
fucking do that, because we're all right here.
Yes.
We're all
Are
not
you gonna
dead.
do it?
Morgan's like. Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm not.
I thought you were just
Okay.
gonna
I
do
thought
it.
Morgan was gonna say yes. I was like, dude, we're still.
I thought you
here.
would just do it simply because it would also hurt Redna. You're like, it's worth it.
All right. So
It's a
Redna kinda
sacrifice I'm
just,
willing to make.
shakes off everything, and he's kind of looking at you to see what your individual contributions or plans would be, so you can kind of discuss that amongst yourselves on what exactly is that you either built, did, or if you want to share anything with your colleagues.
All right, so I've been mandated the like siege master of this little battle, and the plan is so in our back line we're going to have two trebuchets that are going to continually lob the gate of this fortress with bombs. So what we're going to do is take the trebuchet, load multiple bombs into trebuchet, and then launch with like a big like spread out area of explosions.
Yeah.
And
I
then
mean, you should probably be targeting the dudes on the walls, not necessarily the gates.
here's the thing. I have other plans. There's
Don't
part
fuck
two
with
of
my plan, Eligos.
Part 2 of plan is while we are directly barraging gate, we'll also have 2 siege towers. In those siege towers, we will have goblins on mechanical mounts who will
Which is
try
exactly
to directly
why we
take
should
the
soften up the wall defenses first.
What kind of mounts do you have for him, Vilhelm?
Well, some old gobble, I think his name was like Butts or whatever.
His name was Gluzbuzz.
Did you say butts?
But
He said Butts. Oh god.
Old gobble named Butts gave me plan for like mechanical Wilhelm mount. So we out of the siege towers are like where like I think 10 gobbles on little mechanical Wilhelms are going to like try and directly take the walls. As far as my involvement, I'm going to flip a coin and figure out which tower I'm going to be in. I'll be in one of them and help take the walls.
That's a surprisingly good plan.
I know. I surprised myself. Like it was. It is almost like I had a voice, a snobby voice in the back of my mind, being like, "Oh yes, this is how you have to go about taking a wall." It was rather weird. I don't understand.
Okay. Got to a weird place, actually.
I know. How do you think I felt having like old snobby man tell me what to do? I am an adult, I swear. As Vilhelm is still in his pajamas and goblin slippers.
Speaking of old snobby men, that's a good segue for mine. I just went outside, told to go back inside. I talked to Larry. Hi, Larry. Met Breadman. Unfortunately, I'm realizing now I didn't do that much. I went into the dojo, did a little bit of training, and then you'll never guess whose spirit I channeled.
Who?
I won't guess.
Oak Lord Entley.
No.
Oakley?
Oh, I did see Oakley. That wasn't who I was thinking of. I did see Oakley. He did not look good. He looked.
Well, I mean, he's a man who is focused his career on earwax-based construct creation. Like, he's picked a rather a dirty and gross path to go down in life, so he's gonna look a little rough.
Can Ghost gain weight? Because he looked big.
I mean, hypothetically, if ghosts were to consume extra ectoplasm, like, they could get fatter.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, who did you talk to?
Warlord Brentley.
Who?
I thought you knew about
Wait,
the Gamble Bluffs.
Wait, he's an actual person? I thought he was like a book character.
Yeah.
The books were based on a real person.
Well, you know what? I'm logging this for Akma.
You see all of the trainees from Eligos' squadron are like, write that down! As like they're peering in through the window.
Don't write that down.
Who are they?
They're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I talked with Warlord Brentley. He's a warlord, so I thought he'd know something about war. Seems like he doesn't really like war anymore. He moved from war to peace. But he did tell me... Actually, he told me something private. I didn't do it this episode, so I don't know when I'll do it. Maybe in between episodes, but... Something involving a sword, and I wink.
What's an episode?
Yeah, wait a minute.
I mean, Wilhelm just had a
what the fuck?
psychotic episode, so...
Hey,
I
man.
also had speaking of having
Don't-
episodes, while I was flying with some dragons,
God.
I saw some weird house village burning down. I was married. I have no idea what the fuck that all meant.
Breathweaver, what did you do with the dragons?
Breathweaver, how much yerba mate did you drink?
Breathweaver, did the dragons tell you to, like, eat some mushrooms as a prank, and you just kind of fell for it, hook, line, and sinker?
I'm not entirely sure.
He had some magic mushrooms, definitely.
Well, if you want to know what I had, as I walk behind Redna and use paralyzing touch.
Did you just wait? Morgan just like counted down until it recharged.
Redna and I had a wonderful little conversation.
He's like paralyzed.
Andrew, you seem a bit more vengeful and vindictive than usual. Are you okay, bud? Do you need someone
Oh.
to talk to?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine. Thank you for asking.
The fact that he hasn't killed the person yet is a positive turn of events.
Why is
actually.
Real scrum.
Why is
Larry.
Redna foaming at the mouth? Should that be checked on?
Oh my god. Yeah, here, Larry, do you have any, do you have any medicine for this? I have no idea what's going on with him.
And Larry just like
Ever since
smacks
Check
him
your
upside
oven,
the head.
Larry.
Lily, ever since my performance review, it's been just random foaming at the mouth and, like, he just seems frightened. I don't know why.
So Larry just like smacks him upside the head with like a drumstick he pulls out of the oven, and then he comes back to normal, and he's like, he's fine.
By the way, Aul, if you need help following up on Warlord Brentley's suggestion, I can lend you a dragon, or you could ride with mine to get, if it's a location you need to pick up this quote-unquote sword you mentioned.
Wait, you got a dragon?
What?
You got a dragon.
I have, I'm leading the dragon battalion. I think's the proper term.
Battalion.
Shut up. I think that's right.
Speaking of that,
It's right, but it's also pronounced battalion.
Shut up.
speaking of battalions, what have you been up to, Eligos?
Well, I mean, we now have a sort of battle strategy for our ground forces. Basically, as long as we have support from close air support from the dragons and the siege weapons do what they're supposed to, we should be in okay shape.
Damn, you and Retzel really made an army out of those guys.
I will kill you.
And as for me, I'm gonna see if I can find any stuff in the fortress and disable all the magic circles so you guys can get in and have fun storming the castle.
This was, sounds like a plan. Larry,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so, as you guys know, I said I was gonna find Praise Dimension, a way to get in that doesn't involve pods. And I think I have our answer. It involves pod magic, or is it podcasting? Either way, I took a look into the runes, etched in my very own pod, and found some pretty crazy stuff written on the inside. And then I remembered that you yahoos found a pretty similar looking rune inside that simulation suit of armor. So I did some mixing and matching, loaded it into the jukebox, and boom. Hit it again, Lieutenant General Retzela. And Retzela punches Sir Tinley, carefully this time, and Sir Tinley attempts to hit the jukebox. He misses and punches Valamir. In shock, she coughs up some fire and burns Redna's hair, who trips back, knocking over a domino of 4 drunken dwarves, and the last one of which hits the bar table. The drink atop the table, a colorful and fizzy yerba mate, flies up into the air and lands in Retzela's hand. He smacks the jukebox and takes a sip. Music sputters out. Just like we rehearsed, he says, laughing. Everyone else is staring at him with daggers in their eyes, and in some cases in their hands.
I'm gonna use paralyzing gaze on Retzel. Lightning gaze on Retzel.
Before that happens, a unique song comes out of the jukebox. It's oddly familiar, but you cannot recall where you heard it before. Hello and welcome to Larry's Jazzercise Instructionals. First, you will need a trombone and several dumbbells, and a mobility pool. Larry yells loudly, "Oh God, turn it off! My Jazzercise period was a very dark time in my life. I was completely addicted to orc spice during it. Lost a lot of friends, because I killed them and turned them into orc spice."
and a lot of weight, I guess.
You didn't have to admit that part, you know.
yo,
Retzela says with unearned authority, "Sir Tinley, change the song." Sir Tinley slaps the jukebox and completely stops the music. In a panic, Sir Tinley begins singing, B-A-Bay, B-B, B-I, Vicky, Bye, B-O, Bo, Vicky, Bye. But Retzela smacks Sir Tinley and then the jukebox, not carefully this time. And at this point, you hear a song come out of the jukebox. It's oddly familiar. A bright blue portal begins to appear, with glitched edges, and the smell of bread fills the air. This is gonna be a ripper of a conclusion, right, Breathweaver?
What?
Thanks for listening to this episode of Good Job Adventures. If you like what you just heard, be sure to let us know by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review for us. For questions about the cast, business inquiries, or if you can prove that water is wet, contact us at goodjobadventures@gmail.com. For everything else, follow us on Twitter at GJAdventures. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.